Demario, what was it like seeing Vaughn trying to get a chance to ball out in the preseason game last week?
It was good. You know, we have a good group of young, hungry linebackers. All of them athletic, all of them smart. And so getting a chance to see them all out there flying around was exciting. You know, he played at a high level, but that's not shocking. He's been putting on, you know, good tape at camp. All of them really have. And so it's been an interesting group to work with.
Mark, I know we asked you this a little bit last time, but how impressed are you to see what Quan is out there doing so Quan?
Oh, I mean, Quan is a beast. You know, he's played at a high level in this league for a long time, and you know he came in and made an instant impact. That's why it was so important for us to bring him back, and definitely excited that he's back. And he just brings another level of energy and attention to detail, and makes our defense better as a whole. And you know that's what our goals are: is to be you know, one of the top defenses in the league, and that requires a lot of work, and that requires a lot of good players, and we have both the work ethic and the players, and so definitely excited about that.
Did y'all stay in touch a lot, like when he was going through his rehab and stuff?
Oh, I was checking in on him every day. I was just asking one question, like, bro, when you coming back? What's the hold up?
Did you do anything to try to push that process here? Like, would you tell anybody here that we need to bring this guy back? Or they kind of knew what your feelings were?
I made sure that they knew how I was feeling. But I think it was mutual across the board. Everybody, the organization, you know, coaches, players, fans, everybody knew the impact that he made on our defense. And so I think it was just mutual across the board. And the biggest thing, he wanted to be here too. So it was just a natural fit.
Is it kind of rare to develop that type of a bond with somebody that quickly? You know, it seems like you guys became very close very quick.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, it's hard to. I think becoming friends or having chemistry with somebody, you know, sometimes it can kind of happen quick, but for the most part, it takes time. But to have the level of bond, I think that we have, especially on the field, is rare. Part of that might be because he's from Alabama, I'm from Mississippi, and so we kind of look at life the same, and we kind of have the same approach to the game. Both of us trying to, you know, be the best and competing every day and challenging each other to do it. I think we both talk a lot of trash. We both like to be flashy and have a lot of fun, and so, you know, it's kind of like what was that one movie where the guy was like, "What's mine say, dude?" What did yours say? Sweet. What did yours say? Dude. So it's like we keep like, you know, one-upping each other, and it just kind of like, you know, fuels a fire, and it's just a lot of fun. So, you know, I feel bad for other offenses.
Dude, where's my car? I think.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that reference. First time ever.
I know you guys got some. Do you remember what your impressions were of the Saints program that led you to come here in the first place, and then what you've learned about that since you've been here?
What initially drew me here, pun intended, was Drew and Sean. You know, from afar, you know, I just saw this really dynamic offense. You know, putting up 30, 40 points a game all the time like it was nothing. But, you know, a lot of those games, some of those games, they weren't winning. And I was just, you know, kind of just intrigued by that, you know, for years, even as early as I came in the league in 2012. And so seeing that, you know, man, you know, when I had an opportunity to go to a team, it was like, well, man, I think I can go and help them defensively, at least, you know, get a few more stops. And so that was my mentality of coming. But then on my arrival, realizing how well the defense is coached and the type of players, my mindset instantly went to, man, I think we can be, you know, one of the top defenses in the league, or if not the best. And so that requires a lot of work, you know, individually, you know, being able to play at a high level, to be able to add to that, but also paying attention to the chemistry, the culture, and challenging other guys. And so when you have an opportunity to do it, why not go for it? Now that doesn't say like, you say you want to be the best defense. Every defense is saying that. But one, you got to have a real opportunity to do it, right? You got to have the players in the room, and you have to have, the coaches that can put you in the best position. But then you have to have the confidence to be able to do it. And we can have that confidence because we've been able to do it. And so we have enough to rely on to say, you know what, we're right there. And so that's our goal, is to be the best. And why, when you have the opportunity, wouldn't you chase that, right? And so the only way you're going to hit it is if you go for it, and so you may or may not, but we're going to go for it. And we need to. And so, like, that's why our mentality is now, which is a little bit different than kind of how I came in. It was like, let us get one or two more stops and, offense to bring home. Now it's, we know our offense is going to take care of the football. They're going to move the ball down the field, and we know our special teams is going to perform, but, put the game on us. We're handling it, and that's our mindset.
I know you guys got some new guys on the defensive interior. When you're blitzing, does it help to have a level of chemistry with those guys? Does it make a difference, like how well you know them and play together?
Yeah, I mean, that's anybody that understands, pass rush and understands it's a lot of chemistry that goes into it. You can have the perfect pass rush, and quarterbacks are so good at getting the ball out on time now that everything has to be in sync and flow. And so steps, angles, all that matters. And what has allowed us to have consistent success is, though we've had a lot of phenomenal players, you got probably the best, or one of the best pass rushers in the game, in Cam Jordan, and a lot of talented guys that played in the system. But up front, we're just incredibly coached, and there's a lot of detail that goes into it, and that's what allows a lot of guys to kind of change in and change out and still have high volumes of success.
Yeah, that was what I was just about to ask you, because Malcolm Jenkins was saying something similar. We looked at all the guys you lost, this off season, but it seems like there's still a tremendous amount of confidence. I mean, is that true? You guys feel like this defense can not lose a step despite having to replace a number of guys in each position group?
Well, it's interesting that people just assume for whatever reason, that you're going to lose a step. Like, there has to be a reason, like, for people to actually see a step be dropped to assume that you're going to lose a step, right? And so I think it's kind of the same, me being 32 years old, and people, like, keep wondering, like, when is he going to lose a step? Like, why you keep, like, just look at the numbers. They're going up, not down. Like, so I think we did a good job of retaining, except for maybe a few guys that kind of dictate the culture of our defense. And so when you have that many people carry over, that kind of, the culture is what's most important. That guys come in and I'm impressed when I hear guys in the locker room like, man, it's a different level of intensity here, right? Yeah, it's supposed to be. That's our culture. That's how we work. And when you have that, the young guys come in and they have to buy into the program. The new guys have to buy into the program. And it's enough guys at every position that understand the culture, that understands the amount of work that we put in and how serious we take it. And so to get to where we got to, we just got to keep raising the standard. We don't have time to look back.
And just to follow up on what you were saying about Cam, what do you think makes him really special as a pass rusher, but more than just a pass rusher?
I think what really separates him is his physicality. He's not the fastest or the strongest, but he's one of the most physical ends that you're gonna go against, and he's gonna give it to you in the run game. He's gonna give it to you in the pass game, and he's looking for the contact. And so he's not trying to run around guys. He's not, trying to shake guys, and he's not just trying to run through guys. He's, he has a very serious skill set, and if you watch him, it's pretty remarkable to watch. And so I mean, by far the best defensive end I've ever played with, and so just watching him and what you can have guys who are good in as pass rushing, and you can have guys who are good at setting the edge and being good run defensive ends. But when guys have like the full package like that, that's a tackle's nightmare, because I mean, what he does to tackles, and I feel bad for the tight ends who have to block him. It's impressive to watch, and I think it's his physicality. I think by the end of the game, guys they don't want that smoke no more.
What's your assessment of how the defense performed in practice specifically today?
You never really know until you watch the tape. I think the main thing that when we're on the field, we're just trying to have a ton of energy. And so, like when you see us jumping up and down and celebrating, that's the main thing that you can always see. You can tell on the field the energy. Sometimes, you feel like you played great, but it's a lot of little details that weren't up to standard. And sometimes you feel like, offense might have got the best of us, and you see it on film, it was a lot closer than you think. So I think you never know until you watch the tape, but I like that energy.
Is it depth you guys have at linebacker, just with those young guys, you feel like they help each other raise their level, and that competition is just kind of helping?
Say that again?
Just with the depth you guys have at linebacker, just the young guys competing, I mean, do you kind of feel that energy in that room and just them raising each other's level, just being out there competing with one another?
Yeah, I mean, I think it shouldn't be understated, the growth that those young guys have had. I think kind of coming into this, there were a lot of potential question marks at the linebacker position, right? Which young guy was going to step up, which one was going to be ready. And I think all of them did a good job of understanding, taking the coaching and understanding, our system, and then doing a good job of understanding what it takes to play the position at this level against other teams. And, kind of when we went into the last game, when there was no concerns at the linebacker position. We knew that those guys were going to be ready and play in great. And so I think they're fortunate because they have, two really good linebackers that they can watch and emulate. That's right there. That helps, right? That sets a career on a different precedent. When I came in, I had the luxury of playing with Dave Harrod and Bart Scott. And so sitting back and watching those guys, watching how they prepare, watching what was required of them and how they approach the game, I think, they're fortunate to have that. And so with their skill set and their mental capacity, and the coaching that they get in the room, Mike Hodges is young, but he is a phenomenal coach. And that's, I think, the reason why those guys have progressed the way that they have, and so, yeah, we're blessed in that room to have a lot of talent, and so that's gonna be bode well for the defense, and we need it to.
What is one of Mike Hodges' best traits as a coach?
His versatility. He knows how to, and relatability. He knows how to talk to each and every individual. The way he coaches me is different than the way he coaches Quan. It's different in the way he approaches Caden. It's different in the way he approaches Chase. And so when coaches really know how to individualize their coaching style like that, it allows you to connect and reach guys. And his attention to detail. He can go over a lot of things in detail in a short amount of time. And so that's good because he knows when he needs to coach the young guys, and he can get them up to speed. He knows when it's stuff that I need or don't need. And so when you have, that's impressive as well, when you have a room where you got guys who have played a lot of snaps, and then you have guys who virtually played no snaps, that can be tough because, like, how do you coach a room like that, right? And he does a good job at it. And so I think it's a testament to probably the coaches that he's been around, that he models, that, he does a bunch of reading and studying, and he's as passionate about his craft as probably I've ever seen a coach, and it's impressive.
Back to a point that you made earlier, when you got in the league, you had guys in the locker room that you could look to. Now you're that guy for some of these people, not just linebackers, but defense, offensive young guys. How much pride do you take in that, knowing that you are the guy that some people look to for leadership?
Well, the NFL is a fraternity, and so it's kind of like it's kind of on the older to look out for the younger, because if you've had some older people look out for you, you know the value of it. You know, I still replay some of the conversations that I had with Darrell Reeves, and I know how much those conversations meant to me in the moment that he was having them. Like some of those things he said, I never forgot. And so I think I take it like that. You know, it's when a young guy asks me a question, you know, and sometimes you can tell like they're a little nervous to ask you a question because they don't really know you and they're just trying to they don't know what kind of personality you got. But when they ask me something, I try to take it as a very serious moment, you know, and even if it's 5 words or 20 words, like I know it's gonna matter, and so I take it very seriously.
So that's like some question, what did Darrell say? I think even in general.
Yeah, he was, well, he told me one time about teaching me about press coverage. But another time, it was one of my first rookie practice, and I came out of the Sun Belt, and it was a passing league. And they ran lead ISO at me, and I kind of turned down the block. I didn't go in like physical. I just kind of turned my shoulder. And it was something that was going on, and, you know, rookies aren't really supposed to talk, you know, and so they were talking about something, and I jumped in the conversation, and he was like, man, you need to worry about playing lead ISO, taking on a lead block on a fullback. That's all you need to worry about. And because I knew I had turned out a block and the guys was talking about me, like, it kind of stung, but he was right? That's what I needed to be focused on before I talk about anything else. So I still remember that.
Demario, one of those,
Good time for one more.
one of those, some of the rookies were talking about your pregame speech, everything, is how you said exactly what they needed to hear. What something goes in there for you? Like, is that something you think about the night before, or you just spontaneous with it, or?
Yeah, it's a process. It is a process. I do think I've been blessed, you know, with the gift of, you know, kind of doing exhortation and getting people excited. But it is a process because I take that moment seriously. So I didn't want to just say anything, and so I kind of wait. And sometimes it comes like the night before. Sometimes it comes a little earlier in the week, and I can build on it. But I'm really kind of waiting for that word or kind of phrase that kind of move my spirit. And, you know, when I get that, then I'm like, okay, that's it. And I start building on it. Sometimes I kind of get a word and I'm like, no, that ain't it. That ain't, not that one. And so like I'm kind of like doing like a shuffle. Like, and then I'm like, oh, that's the right song. That's the right playlist. And then I'll kind of go into it and then I'll build it out from there.
How are your pregame chances different from groups?
I mean, we just different individuals, right? You know, it's the same thing. You getting guys ready to, it's the last thing you hear essentially before the battle begins, right? And so it's like your battle cry or chant or mantra or whatever it is. And so guys are already in a certain type of mode themselves. And so you're really not igniting anything. If you have to ignite guys, then they probably don't need to be here. Your thing is you don't want to throw them off, right? You want to add fuel to the fire that they already have going. And so Drew is just phenomenal at that. He always had like the perfect words at the right time. And I think with both of us, you can see our intensity. And I think I remember watching him, and you could just see how locked in he was on the game and how much this moment meant to him. And so he was in the moment, he was ready to go. And so it really wasn't the words at that point, it was like, you know, how they're being said and what's being communicated. And so I think what they say, you know, in communication, like it's 14% of what's actually being said, 33% of how you're saying it, and then the rest of it is body language. And I think that all plays a part. So I think we're similar in a lot of regards, but because of maybe our backgrounds, you know, kind of our mentalities, it's going to be a little more individualized. You know, mine going to have a lot more swagger in it, you know, so.
Who doesn't have swagger?
No, I ain't saying that. Mine it ain't a lot of people with a swagger like mine. You see the difference.
Thank you, Boyd.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.